Hey everybody, this is episode 9 of Tandem Podcast. Right after I was wrapping up the last podcast with Connor Davidson, I got an email from someone named Daniel Walter. And in the email he said that he was 16 years old and felt that he could give a different perspective than all the other previous guests because all of them were a lot older than he was, which I didn't really give much thought until he emailed me, and then I realized, like, oh yeah, all these people are, at least over 18 and sort of in the real world, like they're not in high school. So I was really interested in that, and also he said he just wanted to give back to scootering in general. So I looked up his videos, and I realized that I had actually been following his videos, but I didn't realize it was the same person. And I really liked him too, so I thought it'd be great to have him on. So here he is, Daniel Walter. So would you consider it a small town where you grew up and got into scootering?
I would, because really the only reason why it's sort of like on the map is because Penn State University is there. So like a lot of the population is just based upon that. Like we're a little more progressive, but really like there's only one skate park, and so it sort of is a small town.
In what town is it?
It's State College, Pennsylvania. So it's like smack dab in the center of Pennsylvania.
Are you relatively close to like Will Rosati?
Yeah. I've met him twice, and so he lives in Philadelphia, which is about a good 4 hours from where I live.
But he used to live near Lancaster.
Yeah. So I never knew. I didn't meet him even when he lived in Lancaster, which is still pretty far, and there's not too much of a reason to like travel there.
I believe Lancaster is the largest Amish population in America, and they ride around on these like homemade wooden scooter things. Have you seen those?
They're really interesting. They're like dirt scooters. Another like point of reference about like where I live is it's surprising. Like I live 30 minutes away from like Woodward East.
Oh wow! So that's like in the middle of nowhere then.
Yeah, it really is. It's in Woodward, Pennsylvania, and that's Amish country too. So, if you just travel like a little bit outside of outside of State College, you'll hit Amish scooters.
Yeah, Will told me that those things, they're like so flimsy, like the decks bottom out. When he said I think him and his friend like found one once and tried to ride it, and it's like the deck almost just scraped the ground because it was so flimsy.
I can imagine, because it's crazy to watch them like scooter along the highway, like sort of in the rut of the road. There's just cars zooming past.
I remember Josh Smuggle and I, we wanted to ride Philadelphia, but there aren't many scooter riders that actually live near there. So we went and stayed with Will and Noah. I think this was like a year and a half ago. And Noah was like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like you can stay at my grandma's place. Like she's not there anymore. But that's all he said. And we were uncertain. We were like, did his grandma just die and we're like staying in her house? So it was like, and Will and Noah, they just stayed at their houses, but Josh and I were just in this lady's house alone and no one was there. And we were like kind of creeped out the whole time because everything was left as like she did die like a week ago, but it turned out she just went to a nursing home and she hadn't moved her stuff yet.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I haven't met Noah, but those guys, Will, they're just like they're crazy. They're pretty whack dudes. They're funny. I love them.
So what was the so since you didn't start scootering in the early 2000s when there was like a razor craze, how did you actually get into scootering? I'm always curious when, or especially like when I meet people currently, and they're like, yeah, I've been scootering for like 3 years, and I'm just like, how did you even get into it if it wasn't the razor craze? Like, how could you stumble upon it?
I got my first scooter whenever I turned 6, but I didn't do any tricks on it, like that many, and it was just a basic razor. Had to have been maybe a year or two, and I was at some Boy Scout jamboree, and because I lived in California at the time, and I only lived there for till I was about like 8. So those ramps and stuff that whenever like bikers come to your school and stuff and do demonstrations, there was a fly box and 2 quarter pipes like that there, and I actually saw Coda whenever he was like had to have been like 12 or 13, I don't know, but he had a razor and stuff, and he was with those bike bars that he had on. He was just doing tricks and bri flips. So I got started scootering like a really long time ago, but I never got any good, nor took it like seriously until I was about, I think, 10 or 11, and then after that, I had just gotten my Mad Gear scooter, and then it just sort of from there. But there were a lot of weird transitions with my riding.
That's pretty incredible that you were at one of those Coda demos. I remember like seeing footage from those, and he like that was so long ago, and it was just so strange how he was the scooter rider for it. Have you seen the Coda documentary on YouTube that was made like back at that time?
Yeah, that was really that's a joke. It's a hilarious video.
I mean, even somebody outside of scootering that doesn't know anything about scootering, it almost seems like a mockumentary. It's like there's no way this is real. Like some of the stuff they're saying.
Yeah, his dad looks like Guy Fieri.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
And he actually his dad is blacklisted from I think all the Woodwards because whenever Coda didn't get first place or something, he got really upset. Yeah, I don't know where I heard that, but it sounds like it could be true.
Yeah, I feel bad for him though. Like, there's probably so many rumors like that are not true at all.
Yeah.
By the time, I mean, I know you started riding young, but I'm sure there was a point where it got serious. Do you think that you were able to progress really rapidly because you could see so easily what people were doing around the world?
Whenever I was younger, I really didn't go on the internet, partially because my parents didn't want me to go on YouTube and stuff, which sounds hilarious, but eventually I just sort of started to come across videos, and I think at first I didn't really let them influence me, because I think the first actual scooter video that I saw was probably your Catalyst part. I had a perception, but then I didn't really think much about it, and then as I got to about fifth or sixth grade, that's when I started to sort of take influence by things. Then I came across park scootering, and so I was like, oh, those look cool, and I never was good. I could almost bri flip at that phase. In 7th grade, I started to watch more street videos, and I was like, you know what? And I started to like that riding more, just because I was like, oh, it's a little more simplistic. I don't have to go to the skate park every day and just try tricks. That's when I actually think I started to get better. Besides doing just I could always double tail up and do tricks, but until then I was I didn't really set goals for myself. I started riding with my 2 good friends, Andrew Schuck and Evan, and they were 2 years older than me, and so they sort of had more of a different look on what scootering was. It was at the time of 2013, where there was the cliche street scooter rider with cuffed pants and sort of what Jordan Jossa looks like. So I think that's whenever I was truly influenced. Whenever I was just this is what I want to do.
when I looked on your YouTube channel, you had it like early on, like years ago, like 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you had all these park montages and you were like wearing a helmet, and I think you were just like tinier too. Like you were a lot shorter, and then there was a big gap in the uploads, and then like the next video was like different camera, no helmet, like you were like a foot taller. It was almost like a different person.
So mostly the helmet thing was like, since I was so young, my mom was like, "Oh, you got to wear a helmet." I was just sort of like, "Oh, whatever." Like 2 years ago, that's when I really decided to like take the helmet off. But like an explanation for the gap. So probably the early on videos you saw were, that's whenever I was like starting to get into street riding, and I was like, starting to progress more. As well, and it correlates with the time that I met my friends and Andrew and Evan. That's when we decided we were going to start filming for We Don't Play, which was you could almost call it like a mid-length, but at that time it was a full length. Like we were like, oh, we're going to make a full length, and we took like 3 months to film that, and then I decided to like start making videos again, the beginning of this year, like the school year. I was like the only person who would ride scooters in State College, like seriously, and because Andrew had started college and Evan moved off, so I was like, I need to find someone else to scooter with. So I started riding with this kid named Kai, he's in 8th grade, and like he's starting to get better, but I wanted to like sort of like teach him how to film, because I needed someone to film my clips. So I was like, yeah, we can just like mess around, start making some videos, just sort of like get a taste of it, and like it's the best way to learn to film, just like film the clips.
Yeah, because I mean I also saw that you got like a completely different camera setup too.
That's a camera I bought a VX 2000. It's almost like 3 years ago. Whenever we started to film for Happy Valley Hell, I wanted my own camera. Andrew had his own camera. And so I was like, I'm going to buy a VX. And he was like, he didn't really like VXs. So that's why my part is filmed on my VX. So if you like watch to the very end of the credits, I think there's a clip of me in my boxers, like standing on the edge of a bank of a creek. And like we were going to get some B-roll where I like jumped in. But it was like, turned out to be a really shallow pond. No, not pond, like a really shallow creek with like mud at the bottom. But I was standing there like about to like go in, and then I just slipped back and like slid into it. So then I was like, oh, I gotta go in now. And this was early spring. I think that like sums up sort of like who I was at that time.
Yeah, I remember I saw that clip today actually when I was looking back through it.
Yeah, if you don't have the context of that, it's a little interesting. It's just like it's an interesting clip.
So you only have like a couple people in the town where you ride, and it's a small town. What is it like being a scooter rider in that situation where you're kind of isolated from the scooter community?
It's definitely hard, especially like with social media and stuff. You see like all these people just like riding every day, where it's like sometimes like the only time I'll ride like a couple times a week, but it's only because I go out into my driveway and ride my rail. And it sucks, but luckily I try and make trips to like Philadelphia and DC, they're both about 4 hours away. Whenever I go there, I can like sort of geek out with scooter riders and not really being able to like talk about scooters with people, and like people take that stuff for granted when like it really sucks, because I can never do that with people around.
Yeah, totally. I can totally understand, because I pretty much don't have anyone to ride with where I live. So it's like only on trips that I'm with other scooter riders. I didn't realize that there was this whole like network of people who filmed in DC. Like when you sent me all those videos, all the various channels, and they were all from DC. I thought it was like only the Fat Cat crew in DC. Those are like the only people. They had a lot of good montages.
Evan, he moved away from State College whenever he was after ninth grade. Yeah, that was a couple years ago, and he lived there for like 2 years, and so we would go down and visit him, and like shortly after he had moved there, he had like met up with Sam Grove and like all of Fat Cat, and so he became friends with them. You know, we would go on trips, and so we became friends with the guys at Fat Cat.
Are they still making videos? I haven't seen much from them in a while.
At this point, it's sort of Fat Cat is dead, because Sam Grove was like one of the driving forces of Fat Cat, and Evan was too, and the Southeast as well. You went to DC before once.
Yeah, I've only been once. Yeah.
Did you meet all the guys at Fat Cat?
They didn't really like. We went to a spot and they like drove there and met us there, but they didn't really talk to us. It was kind of weird. But I did go to one spot. I remember one day, I think it was just Evan and Sam. They met up. It was like we were riding the spot across the street from the Green Bull. It was like this bump into the street.
That's a cool spot. So after DC Diaries came out, like that was the video that they'd worked on for like 4 years. So at that point, like they were like, what do we do next? So they didn't have like, no longer had a project, and Nathaniel, who edited the videos and filmed the videos, he started doing more stuff with his band. So like no one was really around to like, make the videos, and Sam's gone, Evan's gone, Nathaniel's gone, and there isn't much of a scene left in DC, except for there's Prescott Kennedy, who lives in Warrenton, Virginia, who I stayed at his house this past weekend. So he lives like outside of the city, so we can't go there all the time. And then there's Jacob Rose, who lives right in the city and actually lives, he lives right like on the edge of the city, and he lives in right next to right in the neighborhood of where the Selfies and Sam Grove lived. So
I thought it was cool to see Mckeen, how he had a video part in the Fat Cat Crew video, DC Diaries, because I remember back in the very, very early days, some of the first street footage. I mean, he was pretty much the original street rider, and he had footage on like an all-stock Razor when he was riding the Gold Rail spot in DC.
Oh my gosh, that we were looking at that rail on Sunday. It's crazy.
He just had other footage around DC, and then it was kind of like from then on he just rode in Richmond because that's where he was living. But then he had all that DC footage, so I thought that was just cool to see. It was like a full circle, sort of before. I think that was right before he moved out to California.
Yeah, it was. So a couple times of the times that I went to DC whenever Evan still lived there, we hung out with Mckeen, and he would drive us to spots. But yeah, he would ride like every week with Evan and Sam. Then he moved. He had a lot of footage in DC. Like if you watched his river part had a good, like most of his video parts have a couple clips from DC, and I'm sure his like Proto Reincarnate part had clips.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that Proto video.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone.
Yeah, I totally would have gone if the weather was good, because I'm not gonna go to New York and not ride my scooter,
Yeah, I was really trying to go. No one had a place. Like we couldn't find like someone's place to stay. But like I would have been going if I had a place to stay.
I mean, it's usually like Eric Deptula. It's like a scooter hostel, pretty much. He just packs people into his basement. He's one of the only scooter riders that actually lives in the city. And I mean, he lives he doesn't even he lives in Brooklyn, but Mckeen lives in
Valley Stream. It's far.
Yeah. Isn't that Long Island? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it is.
It's funny. I get all these emails like from people on LinkedIn I think it's like when they join, it just like automatically hits their contacts and like sends out emails trying to get you to join. And I just got an email recently from Evan, like, "Hey, connect with me on LinkedIn."
Oh,
I was like, "Oh yeah, Evan, I forgot about him." I got him like I would get like one a week from Nate Gendron, and eventually I like just texted him like, "Dude, you have to like turn off your like email thing on LinkedIn. I'm getting them every week."
oh, that's funny.
So do you have a connection when you see videos like Noah and Will's videos with people that are in a small town like yours, sort of just making these videos? Like, can you identify with stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely can because a lot of like what I've been having to do is like it's sort of a struggle to put out a video part whenever you can only get a clip maybe like once a week if you're lucky at spots around your place, around like my town. I think whenever I see those videos, it makes me like really happy because I'm like like there's people like actually putting in time to make videos and even if they live in a small town I really appreciate it because it's like it's good to see that people, even though it's hard, like are still doing it.
Yeah, they're just writing anything. They're making a lot out of nothing.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What is it like being a scooter rider in high school? I remember for me it was really weird. Like nobody knew this thing that I was like that's all I was doing in high school. It was like this double life, that this like other world that people couldn't understand.
I definitely agree with that because like just the other day I was watching Tilt Transport in like a study hall and some kid was like, "You really like watching that?" I was like, I mean, yeah, it's like it's entertainment. I guess you probably wouldn't understand because you don't like understand like what they're doing. And I tried to show him like pats, like 3 downwhip over the bump to bar, and he's like, "Well, I mean, like it's sort of cool, but I think most people I know like they respect it and they're like, I don't know. I try and show them like the highlights. I'll show them like clips that I haven't released yet, just so that I'm like give it as good of an impression as I can."
Yeah, I mean, what you really have to be showing them is the Ryan Williams footage. That's
Oh,
that's what they need.
yeah. That definitely would work.
Are you known as like the scooter kid of the school? Like there's nobody else, right?
Whenever some people just don't know I scooter, and so then whenever they find out, they're like, "Oh, like, are you friends with Ethan?" And Ethan says, my other friend who I he does scooter. He's getting back into it, but we used to scooter a lot when we were younger. So in the yearbook one year, there was a photo I took, and like they put it in the yearbook, and it was of him, and then the quote was, "Scoot is life." And so then like he's sort of known as the scooter kid. I'm like, and for like a while, whenever he didn't really scooter, people would be like, "Oh, your friend was like the scooter kid." It's like, what? And they're like, "Ethan." I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't really scooter anymore."
Was it a photo of him riding?
Yeah, it was of him doing a front feeble down this ledge at our skate park.
Damn, that's pretty sick. In the yearbook.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that. Like, was it like next to sports or something?
I can't quite remember, but it was in like where there were like a bunch of compiled pictures of like I don't know people just, and it was in there like it was pretty small, but like people saw it. I don't have the yearbooks, but I definitely would try and get that page just so I could keep that.
Well, are there at least like skaters or something at your school?
Not really. Like it's there's not even like people that skateboard seriously enough where I would like go like, yeah, we should ride sometime. Like let's go ride some spots. Like I think there's like some freshmen that skateboard, but I've never seen them at the skate park.
I mean, in a way, like since you follow scootering, your view of the world is probably a lot larger than people that don't get into things like this at your age, like sort of your world knowledge. It's like, well, it's not like the world isn't just this tiny town that we live in, you know. There's other things out there.
Yeah, and I get a little crazy if I don't leave state college like often enough because I get in like sometimes just get in like a really bad mood and like that I can't scooter and I'm like I'll go outside and like ride my flat bar some and I'll just get like really pissed off just because I'm like it's freezing cold, it's starting to get dark, and I'm riding a flat bar in my street. Like I have no one to scooter with, and it sometimes I get bummed out a lot on it, and, which sucks. But I mean, I guess it's just sort of part about being secluded.
Yeah, I saw that video of you guys riding the flat bar in front of your house, and there was just snow everywhere. That was pretty crazy. Like, what is the coldest temperature you think you could ride in?
I think I once distinctly remember it being like 0 degrees, and I was scootering without gloves on in the middle of my street. It was not the best time. There wasn't even snow. It was just so cold. There was like you could see like all the like dead grass and stuff, and it was just all frozen. It was miserable.
Do you have an indoor park that you can go to?
More recently, there's a park that's in like the next biggest town near us, which is Altoona, which is about 45 minutes away. It's an all right indoor park. They're definitely improving it, but like my parents don't like. It's not that they don't drive me places, but like I don't get the sense that they want to drive me 45 minutes to ride there, and then they have to pick me up or stick around.
Is there anywhere that you'd like to travel to ride? Like, do you like riding on the East Coast or maybe see videos from the West Coast? Do you think there's one you'd prefer more?
I'm pretty content with the East Coast because like there's just like East Coast spots. Like they look better on camera, and like whenever you watch like all the PROTO footage out of San Diego, it's like these spots look gnarly, but yet they're just like skate parks. Like it's a little bit like cheating, but I'd love to ride those spots, but I think I'll stick to the East Coast, but the problem is like you got to find somewhere like where it's like rideable temperatures year round, which isn't like such place doesn't really exist.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty rare though. Whenever I'm riding with people on the East Coast, it's kind of like they don't really know what they have. They always want to be somewhere else, and I'm like, no, you guys don't get it. Like you have all this stuff here, like these amazing spots.
A contender of a place that I think I'd move after I graduate is Philly because I really like it out there, and like it does snow, but I think the winters in cities seem a lot more bearable in a winter in a small town.
Yeah, they definitely are because the snow actually needs to be moved so people can go about their lives. But in a small town, it can stay places. I mean, obviously the main roads, but I don't know the sort of phenomenon or whatever. But whenever you're downtown in cities, it's always warmer. I don't know if it's like the buildings or like the like body heat of like all these people, or I don't know, but or maybe the buildings block the wind.
Whenever I was in DC just this past weekend, it was snowing like it was in like New York at the PROTO premiere. We knew it snowed because we woke up, it was snowing, and we were like, let's go to the city. Like we could actually find spots that were dry. Like we found there was this one handrail that was covered like because it was near a loading dock. Like, and we were actually able to ride, like, even though it was snowing and all wet. If it was snowing and all wet, I wouldn't even go outside if I was at my house.
Did you ever get to ride Love Park in Philly?
Yeah, I did. I got to ride it because I went whenever it was still around. Like I think it was 2013. So we only rode there because it was like close to our hotel. Well, we were on a trip to Philly, but we only rode Paynes and FDR, Love Park. Some interesting stuff happened there whenever, like in the short time we were there was a homeless man underneath a blanket smoking crack.
So do you I feel like with a lot of younger kids, sort of their ultimate goal is to be sponsored, and then as they grow up they realize it kind of doesn't matter. Do you have that desire, or has it changed over the years?
I think like definitely whenever I was younger, I was like, oh, I want to be sponsored, and then I realistically was like, yeah, I'm not good enough. Like, I mean, I didn't even know like what it fully entailed. Currently at this time, like, I don't care that I'm not sponsored, and like my end all goal is not to be sponsored, but like the only reason why I have a desire to is because I think it would make it easier for me to like have chances to scooter and like interact with scooter riders, just because if you're like getting support from a company like to go do scooter things and promote, that means you gotta go do like you gotta go on trips and stuff. I just think it would help benefit me, but I'm content if I'm never sponsored. I just want to have like an impact on scootering or like build scooter parts or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think by making these montages that you're making, it's definitely gonna leave a mark on scootering. But in a way, like being sponsored is kind of the same as when you're not sponsored, except you have these opportunities to go places. But it's still like you're just kind of doing it all yourself.
I don't know how like based on trips, but like if I could get if someone's like because a bus ticket was like $100 like round trip, they were like, oh yeah, we'll pay like for half of it, something like just so minimal, like just like or like you broke some parts here, we'll like not here go like buy a scooter part, here's some scooter parts, like you don't have to go out of your own pocket necessarily. It's hard like not having like external support. As I've gotten older, like I have to pay for my parts, I have to pay for my trips and stuff. It's not that easy.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing that scooter companies can do. Just give opportunities to people that are already have the potential to do things.
And I definitely want to progress more because I wanted ride harder, ride better, just like sort of just like keep getting better. So that's still in my mind, but
How do you consume scooter media? Like, what's your favorite platform? Is it YouTube? Is it Instagram?
so on Instagram, you can see like what people directly are doing, but also, I really dislike it because I really don't like Insta videos, and I just think it's terrible that people are only doing that. So I really appreciate content most whenever it's on YouTube because you took the time to put together a video more than just aligning the clips.
Do you think you get more of a community feel from Instagram or YouTube, like a more personal feeling?
It feels a little bit more personal whenever you can see what they're doing every moment, but it's annoying because then you're seeing everything they're doing. Whereas like if everyone was on YouTube, there would definitely be more of a community feel just because it's drifted off from that.
Yeah, I think that since not a lot of people are on YouTube, there's a lot of these like secret YouTube circles that nobody knows about. Like all these people, all these channels making great videos, and they all just know each other and like comment on each other's stuff. And then when you stumble upon those videos, it's like finding a little like treasure or something. I mean,
Like
it's just
a civilization almost.
it's just like the circle of videos that you have with your friends that you send me. It's like those three or four YouTube channels. It's like this DC, Pennsylvania YouTube montages that I don't know if I never saw them or I just forgot about them, but every single channel you sent me, I was already subscribed to on YouTube.
It's hard because like we're not like consistently uploading stuff. Or it's not like whenever we were younger where we would ride every single day. It's like, but I try to ride like as much as possible. But yeah, it's just because like it's slowed down, and that's what I'm trying to bring back. Just something that like once was there.
Where do you get inspiration from, like videos or riders? I guess in the past, and I mean, you already talked about sort of the past, like what videos you were watching that inspired you back in like 2013. But I guess like in the present, who's doing something that you're inspired by?
I definitely watch like a bunch of scooter videos and stuff, but I think like as I was a little bit like maybe even last year, whenever I would watch videos, I'd like go like, yeah, maybe I should do some tricks like that. I love watching like Zach Martin and Logan, Matt, and just like pretty much anyone who like will legitimately put time into a video. Like I'll enjoy watching it. The most influence, I don't know. I think that's just sort of like now from just like whatever. Like I see some stuff. Like I see someone do a trick. It's not that I want to like do that same trick. I think of like the way the trick was done, and like, so I want to do something that is similar to that. Like, so it's like it's just sort of in like riding anything I see, I could be influenced by. I think.
Do you watch other types of videos like skate videos or BMX videos?
I'll occasionally watch skate videos, and I definitely don't follow it, but I love watching like Evan Smith videos, and like I really like skating. I don't know like too much about it, people wise, and like who's done what. I think just watching skateboarding, I get inspired because I'm like, that was done so cool. Like I get inspired in a different way, like the way something was done rather than like what was done necessarily.
Yeah, like the style or the filming or the editing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you actively seek out older scooter videos to sort of understand how it all started?
Yeah, definitely. Like watching super old tilt videos or proto videos, even just like other individual riders' videos, just because like I liked that time period whenever it was all on YouTube. Like you had to put something out if you wanted to sort of like, I don't know, exist, because that was now Instagram. Anyone can have an Instagram and stuff, but you sort of had to like create something to show your existence.
And do you think it's hard to find older videos? Because sometimes if you don't know somebody's name, you're never going to see that video. It's not like it's going to show up on your radar somehow.
I totally agree with that. Sometimes you just got to I just like find an old video, and like, the videos just keep getting older, like in the recommended.
Yeah, I wish there was some sort of like website that archived the videos to watch. I mean, it used to be like Inside or Scooter Resource, but those aren't really maintained anymore.
Yeah, it's tough to see because a lot of that I would go there, like I would check those Inside and Scooter Resource pretty often, like to look for like like, where's the good content.
But then also with those comes the issue of like the people who are running those are choosing what to tell people to watch. So there might be something else that just because they don't like it, somebody else might like it. But yeah, I used to go on Inside and Scooter Resource pretty much every single day. Like that's just one of the things I would check, like checking my email or whatever. Like I would just go straight to there.
I never really used Scooter Resource, like the forum, that much. I think like a couple of years ago I made an account, and I was really surprised because people still use it. Like people still like comment. Well, people are still typing in the forum. Well, that was a couple of years ago. I don't know how many people are now, but I think it's still alive.
Yeah, because I remember Mankong he would do the whole SR homepage thing, and he would do like top videos of the month, and that was great because you could kind of just see all the videos that you probably, if you weren't seeing them currently, then you're never going to see them. So he like gathered all the ones from all over YouTube and stuff and put them into like a top 10 or something for the month, and I thought that was great, but it's just over now.
Last year, whenever I wanted to upload my video, my like 2016 video, I was talking to Kong about trying to get it on Scooter Resource, and he was like, it's going to be a while, like we got to run it by like all the people, so it couldn't really be uploaded easily. So I'm guessing part of that, like it was hard to like just put content out because maybe the people in control of it were like more particular,
or they just like weren't answering emails. Like not not really doing much. That's possible too.
Yeah.
When you watch really old scootering videos, are some of them confusing to you? Because I don't think scootering ages very well. I think it in the past few years it started to, but a scooter video that's like 7 years old is like it's like really bad. Like the dimensions of the scooters and like the clothes and the music, it's like embarrassing.
I don't really like feel confused. Like I think because I understand it because I rode with a Razor for a long time. I never like watched those videos whenever they were like current, like because I actually did ride on a Razor, so I didn't have to like bolt them and stuff. But
Yeah, you're at a really weird age where you're still so young, yet you actually rode a Razor. Like, I mean, it's because you started riding when you were like 6 years old. I think that's kind of a similar situation I was in. I started riding. I mean, I guess technically riding when I was like 8 years old, and yeah, I've just been through like since the Razors, and now it's just like normal scooters.
this stuff just like would break so often. Like I mean, I wasn't even riding hard enough to like actually break stuff. But I think at one point I took the crossbar, like the two like retractable crossbar pieces, out of the handle on my Razor, and I think I just put a piece of PVC through it and like popped on grips.
A PVC pipe, like a plastic pipe?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It sounds
Did it
hilarious, but
break?
I mean, it didn't break. I think I gave them to my cousin, and then I have them in my closet now.
Damn, that's crazy because we used to go to Home Depot and just get a steel pipe and put it through, and the steel pipe was like plumbing pipe, so the walls of the pipe were so thick, and bar spins were, I don't know, it was like getting slapped in the hand when you caught a bar spin.
I think the PVC was just too like it was short enough that it didn't have enough like my arms didn't have enough leverage to push it down.
Oh, like it was like
Probably.
14 wide.
I think they may have been like 18 almost. Like they were a little wider than the normal ones, but and I was like in third. I was in like fourth grade at the time, so
Do you have any plans for after high school? Because I think that life after high school is probably one of the hardest to maintain while riding a scooter. Like that's like when people drop off kind of. It's really hard to make it all work.
I think that I have enough of attachment to like scootering, and I've been in it long enough that I know that I'm not just gonna give it up that easily. How tough riding is, I still go out and ride. But I have like a couple ideas of what I want to do, and I've been like struggling with that a lot right now, especially because I'm in junior year in high school, so it's it's not like it's being pressured upon me to like figure out an idea, but it's definitely in my head. One of my thoughts is they both sort of are outlined with like moving out to Philadelphia, because then if I go to any school I'll have in-state tuition, and it's not super far, but yeah. And Evan lives there, and Will does too, and I think the scene out there is just really cool. There's lots of spots, and so I would probably go and do like video editing at like maybe an art school. I haven't actually like looked into this, but if I could do that, that'd be pretty cool. And then I would have time to like keep scootering. And also another thing is possibly going to like a trade school, and do like machine tool technology and stuff that I could apply to then like making scooter parts, possibly just try and like stay in it because I really like building stuff, and I think I could build some scooter parts.
Various scooter riders have done that. I mean, that's what Don Marconi did. He went to like a 4-year program, and then he pretty much just started Aztec, and that's it. And it's doing really well, it seems like.
I just broke a pair of their forks.
Oh, really? Yeah, in Tilt Transport, when Grant Schofield drops in off that roof at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was riding the Aztec forks, and they just immediately snapped.
Dude, my first pair snapped whenever I fakie hopped like six stair at the indoor park near us. Like they snapped as soon like, and I was about to land this fakie hop. Like I fakie hopped it. Like I was like, oh, this is it, because I was like about to land on my wheels. And then as soon as I did, I just go back, and I wasn't wearing a helmet. It was on concrete floor. Like I almost hit my head, and if I did, like, it's gonna be bad.
It's weird because Parrish he rides his headset really loose, and when you ride it loose, you break forks easier because there's more stress on it.
Oh yeah,
And he rode an Aztec fork for a long time, and it never broke.
really?
Which was, yeah, it was just kind of surprising. But I don't think I've broken a fork except for a razor one.
Wow.
But I broke like a lot of razor forks, but I'm really glad, because breaking a fork is a really scary feeling, because it feels like your scooter just disappears from beneath you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like you can't even, like, I don't know. I feel like with breaking a deck, you kind of feel it coming, but a fork is like, it's so unexpected, and you can get really hurt doing it.
Like in the Philly files, whenever Mckeen was hopping onto that ledge at the night cliff,
Yeah.
and his fork just like his front wheel hit, and it was like scooter just like broke.
Yeah. Yeah, but the video editing thing seems like a good idea too. I always tell scooter riders, like, you should probably go to film school or just teach yourself or something and work in the film industry, because there's more of a demand than ever for it now. And it's like you already have like the experience that scooter riders have just making these scooter videos is like, it's like essentially like a college graduate, like out of a film program. Like I don't think people realize the amount of stuff they know making these scooter montages over the years that they're just forced to teach themselves.
Did you watch Potassium on Sky High?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That, oh my gosh, I've watched that video so many times. Dakota and I did such a good job on that. Like, even if you think it's like a little too like artsy, like, I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate someone like really putting in that much effort to edit and film that video.
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless if people like it or not, I think they should appreciate that somebody is just trying to experiment with scooter videos, which I think is always good. Even if like people don't like the video, it's just like at least they're trying to do something instead of just clips on a timeline.
Yeah.
So do you have any goals you want to get out of scootering? Because I think a lot of people don't really realize all the life experience that scootering gives them. It just kind of happens. They don't even realize how much it's given them.
I try and reflect on that, especially because whenever I was, really just sort of thrown into scootering, and like sort of all what it had to offer whenever I first like filmed the video We Don't Play, because we would be in the town, like so much stuff would happen, and just like most kids don't take buses to go to a city a couple hours away, just for the weekend, and like their parents are just like, oh yeah, just go. No one really does that, but yet, I have the opportunity to.
Yeah, definitely. It's what scootering, like these friendships are just completely made through scootering that would never happen if it wasn't for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate you doing this, and I'll be letting you know how it turns out before it comes out.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a good one.
All right. See you, man. All right, that's it for episode 9. As always, thanks to Ben Bursell for the graphic design and music for the podcast. If you have any questions, suggestions about the podcast, email thetandempod@gmail.com. And you can also view this on YouTube, something that would be more intended for an episode like Connor's where there's actually video. But if you want to view it on YouTube and sort of be able to comment and stuff like that, just look up Tandem Podcast on YouTube and you'll find it. I'm currently still working on getting the podcast on iTunes. I actually purchased hosting, and the hosting is also through a service that is sort of like a do-it-all iTunes publishing platform. So I'm currently working on uploading all the episodes and tagging them correctly and stuff like that before I submit it to the Apple or iTunes or whatever it is to get approved to be a podcast in the Apple Podcast app on your phone. So it's a longer process than I thought, but it's going to happen. I would say probably in the next 2 months, all the from here on out, all the new episodes will be able to be listened to and downloaded off iTunes, and also the older episodes will be on there too. I'm gonna try to phase out the SoundCloud just because I feel like it's not the most ideal platform to host these really long podcasts on. But yeah, that's all I have. Be sure to look for the next podcast on the last Friday of next month. Thanks.